I did my presentation on Jerome Bruner, and it's the constructivist theory. So he was born in 1915, and he just passed away 2 years ago in 2016. He's an American psychologist. His schooling, he graduated from Duke University in 1937 and went on to get his doctorate from Harvard University in 1941. So as far as his career, in 1945, he became a Harvard psychology professor. In 1970, he went to the University of Oxford in the UK. And then in 1980, he returned to the US to continue to study research in developmental psychology. And then in 1991, he was an adjunct professor at New York University. So the constructivist theory is pretty much the learning never stops, like no matter how old you are. It's an active process where you gain new knowledge based on your current and previous knowledge. So the principles of it, one is that instruction should incorporate certain experiences and connections that encourage the student to want to learn. Another one is that instruction should be organized to where the student can easily grasp the concepts. And the last one would be instruction should be arranged so that the students can fill in the gaps or go farther than just what information was given to them. Some of the tips for teachers, the learning environment should be encouraging and aiding. This allows the student to discover the major ideas by themselves. Socratic learning is the most useful method since it allows the teacher to actively note any study skills the learner verbalizes, their progression, their frustrations, and form of a rubric of their current learning state. The scaffolding method is also helpful since it simplifies tasks of learning by using smaller strides to eventually get the big result or outcome. Any worksheets, lesson plans, or activities should be building on one another, as well as the learner's knowledge, since this theory takes basic knowledge and builds on it. Teachers are not just dispensing information to the students, but they are more of a guide to help students make their own conclusions in the classrooms and their learning. This is something I found interesting. It's a Piaget, I think that's how you say it, versus Bruner, and I got it from simplypsychology.org. So some of the things that Bruner agrees with Piaget about are that children are pre-adapted to learning, children have a natural curiosity, children's cognitive structures develop over time, children are active participants in the learning process, and cognitive development entails the acquisition of symbols. Some things that he disagrees with Piaget about, development is a continuous process, not a series of stages. The development of language is a cause, not a consequence of cognitive development. You can speed up cognitive development. You don't have to wait for the child to be ready. And also the involvement of adults and more knowledgeable peers makes a big difference. A couple pros about the cognitive theory. Did I say that right? Oh, I'm sorry. A couple pros is that students are actively involved. There are interactive and student-centered activities, and the students have ownership in their learning. Some cons is that there's a lack of structure, it's less of an organized curriculum, and there's no accountability to students. So pretty much the constructivist theory takes the knowledge that the children already have, and they make connections in order to build on that. I feel like constructivism could be used in the classroom, but I don't think just using that principle will benefit everyone in the classroom, because kind of like what some of the cons are, some of the students will get left behind, or they're going to take ideas from someone else and not their own ideas. And then the references are right here, and that's all.